Skinny Hardaway Southern T back with another EP. Y'all do your boy a favor. Y'all smash that like button for your boy when you roll on in. Shout out my guy Delia Berry, my guy Ray Book in the chat. Salute my brothers. If this your first time, do your boy solid. Don't make it your last time. Hit that subscription button as well. We talk this good boxing, MMA, sports, parlays, predictions every single day and not just today. We got a big boxing weekend, not necessarily in the sense like, we got a big, huge competitive fight. Got some big names in boxing for sure, right? Big boxing weekend as if like we got a lot of fights, you know what I mean? We got fights Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, right? We got a full slate, a full week, right? Wednesday, early morning Wednesday, right? But a full slate nonetheless. So big boxing week. AJ's returning in action. He's fighting Jake Paul. Yes, you heard that right. Jake Paul, the great Nanito Donaire, friend of the show, right? He's going to fight Wednesday morning, right? It's a few good fights on that card as well that I want to talk about, that we're going to talk about, right? On that Donito Donaire card, which he's headlining. Great slate of fights on there. We got a Pro Box card Thursday with Roman Cardenas. Didn't put him in the title, but most definitely going to talk about that Roman Cardenas fight for sure. Look over that card as well. Going to try to get all of this within, a nice time frame within 30 minutes, 35 minutes, right? At the most, no more than 40. You know what I mean? But we gonna try to do this thing in a timely manner. At the end, I'm gonna timestamp it right. So for the people that want to skip the boring part, you'll be able to skip the boring part. If you already in peep game, you pay attention to what's going on, then you already know my fight picks for all these fights, right? Because you see it scrolling down at the bottom of your screen, right? But I'm going to put a little context, you know what I mean, to those answers, right? So for the people who just, want to hop in real quick and look and see what's going on, I do have my winners and methods scrolling down at the bottom, right? So there you go. If you don't have all the time in the word, right? But if you want a little explanation, behind, the words, those words you just see floating, because some people, they literally some people tell blindly, right? But some people, come here for insight, right? So I'm gonna give you the insight on why I picked what I picked, right? But for my people, that's in the rush, I do have my fight picks floating down there, on the bottom of the screen. It's a lot of picks, right? I had a certain amount of fights set, then I had to go and I had to add more fights as I realized that, you know, this is gonna be a pretty packed weekend, right? So I'm done rambling, right? Done wasting y'all time. Let's go ahead and the first uh let's get into the first card. Right, we'll go to this Wednesday morning card. I will be live, Wednesday morning for this card. Y'all know how I like to do it. Right. I will be live for this card. This is going to be the Nonito Donaire card. It's three fights coming out this card, this Nonito Donaire card that I want to talk about, right? We got Anthony Uskalaga versus Kawara, right? We got Takami versus Renee Santiago. And then we got Tsutsumi versus the man himself, Nonito Donaire. Nonito Donaire is the underdog in this fight. Uh, right? I Nonito Donaire versus Tsutsumi. I watched tape on this fight, right? I think Tsutsumi, Nonito Donaire is going to be the much bigger fighter in this, right? So I did like that. Like when I first looked at this, right, I was like, damn, no, Nito's a lot bigger than this guy, right? So I do like that as a guy who was going to take on Nonito Donaire, right? So I'm taking on Nonito Donaire for the win. And possibly there's a good chance that Nonito Donaire could be losing this fight, right? Up until he wins it. So to see what you mean. Nonito Donaire is a little up there in age, right? So he doesn't start as fast as he used to, right? He's not the fastest starter, not the most active puncher, right? At this sound check. You're not the most active puncher at this point in his career, right? So I do expect him, to start slow to lose a couple of these rounds, trying to find his spots, right? But as the fight goes on, and just as to some as Tsutsumi naturally slows down a little bit, I think Nonito Donaire be able to land cleaner. Now, some people have Donaire and they say, Donaire points. I think the only way, not the only way he wins is because he only has a puncher's chance, right? But I really think the only way that Nonito Donaire wins this fight is if he lands the knockout, because I think Tsutsumi is going to be the more active fighter, right? So he could win this fight, off activity, which is what I think his game plan should be, right? But what plays in Donaire's favor as well. I mentioned that he's the much bigger fighter, right? He's about 2 inches taller, has about 3 inches in arm reach, right? Also, Tsutsumi, while he is active, his defense is his offense, right? He's not the most defensively sound fighter. He wants to bring the action, right? And bringing the action to Nonito Donaire usually doesn't work out well for people. Now he will stop back in your weight, but that's in your way. He also dropped in your way in that fight as well himself, So there's that. But Tusami likes to bring the fight to you. So I think that's going to make him a little more hittable for Nonito, the older, Nonito Donaire. So I do think that Donaire is going to have to take a little bit, to really get his and land his. I think once Nonito Donaire settles in and start landing his, is going to be extremely effective because I think he has the power edge in this fight. To some, he has the youth and the speed more than likely, right? But Nonito Donaire is a great counterpuncher, a step slower, but still a great counterpuncher. So I'm going to go with Nonito Donaire, and I think it's going to be a late round stoppage for Nonito. I think over the course of the fight, the time is going to add up. Right? Let's check if it's a. I think this is going to be a 12 rounder, right? So if this is a 12 rounder, I'm ultra confident. I'm not gonna leave y'all out there for the win. I'm about to go check this out right now because I do have all of these, fights in front of me. So let's click on Nonito. Let's see if this is a 10 rounder or a 12 rounder. And this is a 12 rounder. Yeah, so I'm even more confident in Nonito, right? So I got Nonito late round stoppage, man. I think once the fight slows down, it's going to be advantage Nonito. And we're going to go with the underdog, Nonito. Nonito is a plus 270 dog right now. To some, he has a big national great backing. So this is a really, really big fight. You know what I mean? Onito Donaire knockout is plus 600, right? So that's what we're going to be rolling with. Onito Donaire, I think he wins at plus 270. I think he gets the knockout at plus 600, right? So fight of interest for sure, right? It's Nonito Donaire. Two more fights on that card I want to talk about. Not going to take as long on these two as I did Nonito, right? But we got Anthony Oscar versus Taka Carrara. I'm going to go with Anthony Oscar in this. I'm going to go with Anthony Oscar by knockout. I like Anthony Oscar fight style, and as you can see his name down there as well. I got a lot of knockouts this weekend, right? I'm going to go with Anthony Oscar by KO. I like Anthony Oscar style. He has, I won't say he has that one loss, but his one loss was to a high level, competition in which he did stop. He's a kill or be killed kind of guy. You can almost say that he fought, what's Kinshiro, Taraji, right? You could almost say that he fought him a little too early. I think he fought him for experience purposes, right? Took him 9 rounds before Taraji ended up getting that stoppage. Has not lost since. He's had knockout, decision, knockout ever since then. And I think he's going to be able to land the knockout in this, probably because his opponent is a good fighter. His opponent is a good fighter, right? But I don't view his opponent as like the most menacing puncher in the world, right? So I got Anthony Ascaluga by KO. And I like and high confidence with this Anthony pick. I think he wins for sure. The method is KO. I will be playing Anthony on that knockout. But Anthony Oscar for the win. I think Anthony Oscar is one of, if he's not going to be an elite level fighter, I think he will be at least a contending fighter on the world stage, eventually, right? Anthony Oscar for the win and more than likely by KO, right? The third fight on this card we're going to talk about, we have Takami. Hold on, y'all. We have Takami back in action against Renee Santiago. This is a big fight as well, a banger fight. This Wednesday morning card, y'all, it's gonna be a doozy, right? That co-feature, that co-main event, that main event. I was going to be a doozy. Anthony Oscalaga, Takami, Benito Donaire versus Tsutsumi, man. This is going to be a good card Wednesday morning. And yes, we will be live. You know what I mean to call it. But I'm going to go with Takami in this fight over Renee Santiago. I think Renee Santiago is going to be game early. I think he's going to be live early. But I think eventually Takami will be able to land that knockout on Renee Santiago. Again, it's going to be another good fight. That this Wednesday morning card is going to be overseas. I know over in the States, we would have to be up early for or stay up late for it. Y'all know I'm always, for the early morning, week fights. I love the big, overseas fights, the overseas card. Give us something to do during the middle of the week, along with, Thursday night football and all that good stuff, right? But we got boxing Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday this week. So if you're a fight fan, you gotta love it. No UFC this week, right? PFL video dropping later. BKFC too as well. But getting ahead of myself, let's get back to this, right? I got Takumi for the win by knockout, right? So I gave y'all 3 knockouts on their Wednesday morning card, right? Donaire knockout, Oscar knockout, and Takumi knockout, right? I think all those fighters win. We're going to do a parlay where we money line, you know what I mean? Our picks. We also going to do, a parlay where we take some methods here and there, right? Right. So stay tuned for the end, for the parlays and the money plays and whatnot, right? You know what I mean? But greatly appreciate y'all folks sliding through. Sierra TV was good. Yes, sir. Nonito is still fighting, man. Nonito has a fight Wednesday, right? So we only got what? This sleep tonight, Tuesday night sleep. Once we get that Tuesday night sleep, early morning over here in the state sides, man. Nonito Donaire back in action. But yes, Nonito Donaire is fighting, and I'm taking him to win a close fight, and I'm taking him to win it by knockout. If you want to understand how I feel about it, I just talked about that to start the video. I'm gonna timestamp it at the end, right? Let you know which order I exactly did. You know what I mean? The fight scene, right? I'm gonna timestamp the picks at the end as well, and you can see the picks floating down at the bottom of the screen, right? If you could look down there, right? If you can see, what you should be able to, you will see the picks floating down there at the bottom of the screen. Who I got to win, right? So this if you want to skip the boring part, right? But we got 3 knockouts in those Wednesday fights, right? Nonito, Takami, and Oscar Laga, right? Moving right along, moving right along. We're gonna go to the Thursday card. Right? I don't get Cardenas in the title, but I am going to talk about this Thursday card with Roman Cardenas as well. If I'm not mistaken, it's a pro box card with Roman Cardenas. If I'm not mistaken, it's a pro box card, right? That's what I'm banking on. Roman Cardenas is, a pro box guy. That's where I originally, figured out about him. I think he's a great fighter, actually, right? If there's an elite leagues that cool where they're showing the fight, it's gonna be a foreign card, man, over there in Japan, right? It's gonna be a Japan card. I think, if there is an elite level fighters, right? I think I don't think Roman Cardenas is elite right, but I think he's the level right under elite. Given you could, and I think a lot of people would agree with me, given how tough that he fought Aoi anyway, right? He's going to fight Eric Robles this week on Pro Box. Let me make sure that this is a Pro Box card before I tell y'all the wrong thing. For a lot of deals, so 9 times out of 10, I'm thinking it's a Pro Box card. Yes, he's going to fight. Yes, he's going to fight Eric Robles, who's a good fighter as well himself. um Thursday, right on the Pro Box card. I got Cardenas for the win. I'm leaning Cardenas knockout, you know what I mean, as well. But I like his parlay more than anything as a parlayable piece. Right. So Cardenas for the win. And I'm gonna go with Cardenas knockout, man. He dropped anyway. I think he's gonna be riding it high. He's gonna come here, he's gonna put some pressure on Ed Robles. Ed Robles has been stopped twice already. This is a 10 rounder, right? He got stopped by Liam Davis. I think Roman Cardenas is just as good as Liam Davis, right? Punching wise, he has just about many knockouts as Liam Davis. He actually has more knockouts than Liam Davis, right? So I'm gonna go Cardenas for the win for sure, for sure. And I'm leaning a Cardenas KO in that fight. But Cardenas for the win for sure. I think that's a lot, which he will be on the money line parlay a little later, right? But Cardenas for the win on that Thursday Pro Box main event, as you can see right that I got scrolling down the bottom of the screen. Let me make sure I put Cardenas in there. Did I put Cardenas in there? If I didn't, I'm about to put him in there now. I did not put Cardenas in there, right? So let me take that down and let's go Cardenas, right? I'm gonna go Cardenas, and I'm thinking Cardenas KO, but I like Cardenas on that money line a little better, right? Again, what you see down there, I have not betted yet. Those are my picks, which is why I have picks right there. I'm gonna let y'all know exactly what I bet, at the end of all this, right? But I will tell you this: Cardenas will be in that money line parlay for sure, right? So Cardenas is going to main event. Cardenas is going to main event. Pro Box card this weekend. Let me put the comments on the screen. My bad, y'all. Why didn't tell me I ain't had the comments on the screen? So Cardenas is going to main event that Pro Box card this weekend. So those are the that's the Thursday pick on that. We also have Paul Crow on that card, who's a bird knuckle fighter. We got Herbert Salza, McQuan Williams. McQuan Williams for the win. Right. I like McQuan Williams for the win. And I like Herbert Salza to beat Paul Crow, who is technically a bare knuckle fighter. Right. But Cardenas for the win by knockout. Cardenas for the win in total. You most definitely will be seeing that fight later. Right. That Cardenas fight. I just want the truth. What's good, my guy? Appreciate you sliding through, man. If y'all could, just jab that thumbs up for your boy when you sliding in, man. Whether you passing through or making it do what it do. Greatly appreciate you, man. We talking about the fights this weekend. You can see my full picks down there at the bottom of the screen. If you want the inside, you want to pick my brain on exactly what I'm thinking. That's what I'm doing now. Talking to y'all, letting y'all know, exactly what I got. I'm gonna put the, the official fight picks that I'm betting on at the end. I'm gonna timestamp it right. But if you want their full in-depth analysis, that's what you're here for now, listening to my full in-depth analysis on each fight. So far we have made four picks, right? I've called four knockouts, right? We made four picks. I called four knockouts. You know what I mean? So far Rick Cardenas on that Thursday card. I skipped, some Wednesday fights. So let's circle back a little bit for these two Wednesday fights, right? We got John Hedges versus Elizoro and Giorgio Vasoli versus Joe Harworth. We'll start with Hedges and Zero. This is going to be, I think, a pretty evenly matched fight. You know what I mean? On paper, at least. I'm going to go with John Hedges to be able to outbox Elizoro. I would say points decision, right? Hedges, doesn't get a whole lot of knockouts. All right. Elizoro only been knocked out once. Elizoro only been knocked out once. You know, what's good? I want to said Donaire going to get knocked out. Shout out my guy Truth sliding through this. Elizoro only been knocked out once, right? I'm going to go with John Hedges to win this fight on the cards. He's going to be the taller, more rangier fighter. I think he'll be able to use his height, use his range just to kind of keep Elizoro up off of him, right? Elizoro has been a little bit underwhelming. Right. He had his big fight. He stepped up in it and he got stopped. No shame in it though, right? But this will be a bounce back fight, right? Either Elizoro is going to show you either Elizoro is going to put his name back into, that contender, put invest in me, put money behind me type fighter, or he's going to pass his fame, his game, and all his future endeavors over to John Hedges in this fight. So which is what I'm thinking is going to happen. I got John Hedges to win this fight, and I think John Hedges is going to win on the points. Interesting fight. We got Vasoli versus Joe Harworth. Now, why Joe Harworth can't punch through a paper bag? Vasoli hasn't been knocking guys. Vasoli hasn't been knocking guys out. Vasoli hasn't been knocking guys out, like he was earlier, in his career, right? So these odds are like minus 2,400. So it really ain't worth, a bet on the money line. If I had to pick one, I would say Vasoli, KO. His opponent don't have a whole lot of power coming back, right? But his opponent can box, I think, a little bit. Probably won't be betting that fight, right? But I would say Vasoli, points. I mean, I would say Vasoli points. If I had to pick one, it's even odds. His points is minus 105. His knockout is minus 105. So understand that the books don't really know either what's going to happen, right? But Vasoli should win. Probably won't be betting that fight, right? Maybe I bet that fight live. Right? Maybe I bet that fight live. Maybe I bet that fight live, if anything. Right? So those are the Wednesday fights. That's the Wednesday fights. That's the Thursday fights. Let's get into this Friday card, man. This Jake Paul and Anthony Joshua card. Why you asking me about games tomorrow, bro, when we got games today? This ain't the basketball stream in general, right? But why you asking me about games tomorrow and we got games today, my brother? But anyway, I digress. You got to join the Discord too, my guy. If you join the Discord, you wouldn't even have to ask me stuff like that. But let's get to this Friday card, right, man? We got Anderson Silva versus Tyrone Woodley. We got Yacosta Valley versus Bustelos. Griffin versus Cardano. We got the debut of Keno Marley taking on De'Ara Davis, Shanika Johnson versus Amanda Galley. Alyssa Baumgartner is in action against Badoin. Badoin, I'm probably butchering her name, right? But she's in action against Badoin, Bioden, B-O, you doing, Bioden, Bidoden, Bioden, Bioden, right? I'm butchering the name. But we got Alyssa Baumgartner versus Badoin. I'm going to call it Badoin, right? And Jake Paul versus Anthony Joshua. I'm gonna start with the main event. We're gonna keep the main thing the main thing. Y'all got Anthony Joshua by knockout. There is no way I think Jake Paul could compete with Anthony Joshua. He should not be in the ring with Anthony Joshua. People saying Jake Paul might do this, Jake Paul might do that. Man, Jake Paul go get knocked smooth the fuck out, man. He's gonna get knocked smooth the fuck out. I think my guy in the chat who just told me that Donaire go get knocked out, I think he thinks Jake Paul go win too, if I'm mistaken. But anyway, I digress. Jake Paul getting knocked the fuck out, man. He's not gonna be able to compete with Anthony Joshua. The only way Jake Paul makes it through this fight if he runs around the ring and doesn't throw any punches. And I think even then, eventually Anthony Joshua is going to catch him because Jake Paul gas tank is on zero. You know what I mean? What he's going to do outlast Anthony Joshua when he barely has a gas tank himself, right? You know what I mean? Jake Paul. Anthony Joshua for the knockout. It's probably going to be an early knockout. He go hit Jake Paul with something he don't see. He go fake a punch one way and land on Jake Paul with the other punch. The only way Jake Paul survives this is if he just runs around the ring and he gets a more of a victory. Oh, I went all the rounds for Anthony Joshua, right? So I won. You know what I mean? Tim Zubat knockout. Uh, so Anthony Joshua by KO. Right, we got Bumgarner versus Layla Badoin. I'm butchering her last name, right? But I do think Bumgarner is in the real fight, y'all. Right? I don't think Bumgarner is going to win this fight with ease. God, body. What's good, my guy? Appreciate you sliding through, man. We on these Friday fights right now. I went through the Wednesday fights. I went through the Thursday fights, right? We on the Friday fights, the Anthony Joshua card right now. I picked Anthony Joshua by KO if you was wondering. If y'all can see, I got all my picks already down there in the bottom of the screen, right? So if you don't want to sit here and listen to the boring part, you can see who I got in every fight this weekend in the method as well. All right. You see those slashes because I probably like the money line better, but I'm giving you a method anyway. And when you see just the fighter to win with the method right beside it, that means I like that method more than anything. Shout out my guy, God Body. Appreciate you sliding through this thing, right, man? But let's get back to it. Let's get back to it. So Lisa Bumgarner is going to be in a good fight with Layla Badour, right? Badour is she's a fierce competitor, man. She's not a woman that's going to be coming in here. I ain't gonna say she don't respect Alyssa Bumgarner because I do think she respects Alyssa Bumgarner, listening to the interviews and watching face to face and whatnot. And I have not seen these fighters on the scale just yet, right? So we're going to do a finals pick live as well after we see them on the scale. Y'all know how we do it. Whether we keep the finals picks live up or not is subject to how I'm feeling. But we always do a final picks live like the day before, right? Where I come let you know my final picks. I am going to give you something for Wednesday's card and Thursday's card, and I see you again Friday, right? I'm gonna give you something set in stone for Wednesday's card and Thursday's card on this stream, and then I see you Friday again for final picks for the Friday and the Saturday card, right? So that's how we go do that this week. But Lester Bumgarner is going to be in a pretty good fight. You know what I mean? Layla Bador is 13-1, right? So she's not a woman who's out here just losing, getting beat the fuck up. You know what I mean? Uh is uh is Bedoit. Alyssa Bumgarner is on, you know what I mean, a nice run right now, right? She's standing on business everywhere she goes, right? She beat Alim McCallett. Alim McCallett was a pretty good, boxer, right? 17-2 before she took that loss. Boxing Wiz, what's good, Boxing Wiz? I thought you had a ranks Boxing Wiz. I gotta get you right before the show over with. Remind me to rank you up at the end of this Boxing Wiz. Shout out my guy, Boxing Wiz. But Bumgarner is going to be in the fight. I am taking Bumgarner to win, right? A lot of people taking Bumgarner by knockout. I don't necessarily think Bumgarner gets the knockout in this fight, but do it can fight her ass off, right? And I think, once she hits Bumgarner with something, I think once she hits Bumgarner with something, right, Bumgarner's going to realize that, oh, this girl didn't just come in here to lay down to me. This girl didn't just come here to lace my boots. So I'm going to have to be on my A game to beat her, which I think Alyssa Bumgarner will be on her A game. So I do get Alyssa Bumgarner to win this fight. but I think it's going to be extra exciting early. I think it's going to settle in, and I think once it settles in, Alyssa Bumgarner is going to the cream is going to rise to the top. Alyssa Bumgarner rise to the top, and she'll be able to win this fight by a points decision. So I am taking Alyssa Bumgarner over Layla Bedoy by a points decision, but it's going to be a lot closer fight than people think. Telling y'all, it's gonna be a lot closer fight than people think. Keeping it with the women on Friday, we got Shanika Johnson versus Amanda Galley. Shanika Johnson is coming off a win over one of my favorite women's fighters, my homegirl. One of my partners follow her on Twitter. Been watching her since the beginning. All right, I interviewed her on this show. Right, you can go look that up. Sharita Metcalf's interview on my show. She just coming off win over Sharita Chicken Metcalf. Some feel she won the fight, but she was doing a lot of dirty stuff, right? A lot of headbutting, a lot of elbowing, stuff like that, right? But she did win the fight. Ended up stopping Chicken Metcalf, who has since came back and won the title again in her next fight. So understand, Shanika Johnson stopping Chicken, who was the champ. Chicken came back, got a belt again. So that's a great win for Shanika Johnson. I'm taking Shanika Johnson to get the knockout in this fight as well. I think she continues her streak of knockouts, right, over Amanda Galley, who is going to be game, right? But I think, eventually about that 7, 8 rounds, she's just going to have to wilt under the pressure of Shanika Johnson. Shanika Johnson for the win. Extremely high confidence. Shanika Johnson KO as well. Late ad, we got Caroline DuBois. Now they late added Caroline DuBois, but they late added Caroline DuBois with a woman who really can, fight a little bit. She's fighting Camilla Panetta. Now, Camilla Panetta can fight right, but she has not had a fight with a level of the anybody on the level of Caroline DuBois. She has been stopped in one of her last 3 fights, right? So I'm going to take the boys. I know I got the boys points down there, right? So, but let me fix that. I'm going to go the boys, right? But I am going to go with the boys. I'm think I'm. I know I had the boys points earlier, right? But the more I think about it, right, the more I'm leaning to knock out. This girl has been stopped before, although she is, a tough fighter, right? I do think the boys win, and that's why you see that line through it, right? When you see that line through it, right? When you see that line, that dash right there, that means I'm saying that she wins and I'm giving you a method. When you see no dash, that means that I'm telling you, you could take that method with confidence, right? You see the dash in between the voices, right? Meaning that, I'm not overly confident on the method, but I am going to, give you a method. But I think her on the money line is a lot. I want to lean the boys KO, right? I'm going to lean the boys KO or the boys win for sure. All right, late ad, and I think she's probably going to get maybe a late stoppage in a middle round to late stoppage in that fight as well, right? So Caroline Du Bois for the win in her fight. She has a pretty good fight on her hands, if I do say so myself. Y'all hit that thumbs up for your boy. We're going to keep it going. We got his name Travius, Avius, right? One of Jake Paul fighters. Avius Griffin, he's fighting Justin Cardana. Avius Griffin just got stopped in his last fight in the 12th round. Not because, he didn't have a chin or anything like that. Mainly because, the attrition of that fight, the war of attrition. He gassed, right? He got outboxed early in that fight. He gassed a little bit and he eventually got stopped, right? You know what I mean? I'm expecting him to bounce back in this fight. Only has one loss, 18 wins, 17 knockouts, right? One loss, which was his last fight. I think he gets back on that winning track, right? So I'm going to go with Griffin for the win, and I'm going to go with Griffin by knockout. I think he's a level above his opponent, Justin Cardona, and I think he wants to make up for that last loss that he had when he got stopped himself, right? So Avius Griffin for the win. Uh, we got Keno Marley facing De'Ara Davis Jr. Right, making his debut. Keno Marley is an Olympian, right? Signed to Jake Paul, so shout out Jake Paul for having his ear to the streets and signed to him Olympian. Keno Marley, my bad. Keno Marley is fighting Dara Davis. Keno Marley is probably going to beat the dog doodoo out of Dara Davis, right? Probably gonna beat him down. So Keno Marley, for the win. Keno Marley for the knockout. Former Olympian, expecting, the world expecting, right? Big things out of him. He's an Olympian from Ghana, something like that, if I'm not mistaken, right? But the world is expecting big things, out of Keno Marley. So Keno Marley for the win. And then we got the MMA fighters, two MMA Hall of Famers, Anderson Silva versus Tyrone Woodley, stepping in the battle. I think Anderson Silva is the better technical boxer of the two. Both these guys fought Jake Paul. I think Anderson Silva actually was beating Jake Paul until he got knocked down. think the knockdown was staged, but anyway, I digress. He was actually beating Jake Paul in my eyes, right? Until he got knocked down. Tyrone Woodley, I think, was putting a lot of pressure on Jake Paul, making him on nervous. I think he was most definitely supposed to beat Jake Paul, and then he got knocked out, right, which is crazy. And then I think he got knocked out the second time, right? The first time they went to the cards, I thought he might have won. He got knocked out the second time, and which what I think was staged because Tyrone Woodley has never even been knocked out in MMA. But all of a sudden, Jake Paul is going to come here and knock Tyrone Woodley out. Anderson Silva, I think, is going to outbox Tyron Woodley. I think he's the better natural, pure boxer of the two. In the MMA fight, Anderson Silva is one of the GOATs. Tyron Woodley is one of the GOATs, as well. It'd be an extremely interesting MMA fight, right? Both fighters prime for prime with all that power that Tyron Woodley has, right? But in the boxing ring, I'm going to edge Anderson Silva in this. I got Anderson Silva for the win over Tyron Woodley, and I'm thinking points decision, right? So we went through every fight on that Jake Paul Friday card, right? We got Bumgarner, Shanika Johnson, Carolina Boyce, Griffin, Anthony Joshua, Anderson Silva, Keno Marley, right? Keno Marley knockout. Anderson Silva points. Anthony Joshua knockout. Avis Griffin knockout. Carolina Boyce knockout. Shanika Johnson knockout. Amanda Bumgarner points decision on that Friday card, right? Moving right along to the Saturday card. And again, you got all my picks down there at the bottom of the screen, right? Or if you're wondering who I'm picking, what I'm doing right now is I'm just explaining the game, right? And how it go and why I'm picking who I'm picking. At the end, we go timestamp all this, right? So you don't guys sit here and listen to the whole 35 minutes or the whole 40 minutes, whatever, however long that I'm gonna make this. I'm gonna try not to get past, 45 minutes. Might get this thing within like 42 minutes. Try to do 35 minutes, right? So let me shut the hell up and continue what I'm doing. Let's go to the Saturday fight. Made pretty good time on this. Right, let's go to the Saturday fights. And I got another MMA and PFL card to do after this, which go drop in a few hours. All right. So y'all make sure y'all be on the lookout for that. Let's try to get this thing within 35 minutes. Let's go to these Saturday fights. And then we go, oh, we don't have any Saturday fights. Oh, Callum Smith. I got Callum Smith Saturday for the win, right? And I think Callum Smith wins by knockout. Right as well. So Callum Smith is facing Troy Williamson. Troy Williamson, who I do rate, pretty good. He's a former champion over in the UK. Right, that's going to be a good fight. I'm going to go with Callum Smith. Troy Williamson tends to slow down in fights. He can knock you out if you give him a chance. I think Callum Smith is going to be a little too technical, right? A little too prime. I think he'll be able to knock Troy Williamson out pretty smoothly, right? Pretty smoothly, right? So we're gonna do all money lines, you know what I mean? Right now, let's go Uskalaga, let's go Takami, let's go John Hedges, let's go Cardenas. Let's go Anderson Silva. Oh, Valet and Bustilis. I'm going Valet in that fight as well. I didn't break that fight down, right? But I got Valet to win that fight. Punch this season. A lot of those women are just extreme knockout punches. I think Valet on a little different level, right? Valet for the win. Valet more than likely wins that fight by punch decision like she always does, right? But Valet, we're gonna go Griffin, we're gonna go Shardika Johnson, we want to go Bungon, and we want to go Anthony Joshua, right? All that is on the money line. 10 fights, right? 10 legs, they get you to plus 350. You know what I mean? 10 fights, 10 legs, they get you to plus 350. Let's drop this in here, man, and then we'll move right along. We'll end this with it. What's a good number? We'll end this about at what, 38? We'll end this about at what, at like 38 minutes, right? But let me go and drop this in there for you. Right, so this is my long parlay, right? This is the long parlay, right? You don't gotta do all long. We go, you know how we like to do it. Silva, Valet, Griffin, Johnson, Baumgartner, AJ, uh, Oskaluga, Olaskuga, Takami. No order, y'all. Hedges, Cardenas. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, right? Next 350. That's all money lines right there, right? That's all money lines. Right. That's that's all money lines right there. My favorite ones, right? My favorite ones be a little shorter one, and I'll get you the plus. Let's go to Kami, he just be Eric Rosa. Right, let's go Roman Cardenas. Let's go Sharnika Johnson. Let's go Anthony Joshua. And let's go. Matter of fact, we'll do 6. Let's go Bumgarner. Let's go Bumgarner. So what we got? Takami, Johnson, Joshua. Let's go Bumgarner. We have minus 125. One more for you, man. Let's go. Oscar Luke. Dang, they don't get us 2 plus. Boom, boom, boom. Griffin will get us there. Let's go Valet and Oscalaza, right? Let's go both of them. Let's do it like that. They get us the plus one. We drop 3. I could throw. Let's go Anderson Silva. We gonna go Anderson Silva. We gonna go Silva. You know what I mean? So we'll go. What I got? 5. We got Takami Johnson, Anthony Joshua, Richard Bumgarner, Cardenas. All right, so let's take Baum out because now they got things to go. I'm playing with the odds right now. I know what I'm doing. I'm trying to get us the best, value. I'm trying to get us the plus money, trying to give us our easiest road to plus money on the shorter one, right? Oscar Lago. Griffin is coming off the loss. Valet don't quite get his turn. Anderson Silva will be the move. Anderson Silva or Hedges, right? It's going to be Silva. It's going to be Hedges, man. Last leg in here. I'm trying to decide. Volcan, what you got, Volk? Lay it on this, Volk. Lay it on this, Volk. What you got, Volk? This open question time here. I'm putting together. Something short for us, right? I'm putting together like a 4 or 5. Like this kind of tell me what y'all think. I got all my winners down there scrolling at the bottom, right? I just dropped, my 10 favorite picks. Now I'm doing a smaller part, all right? Most people don't want to do 10 legs. I'm finna give y'all half of those, all right? I'm finna do about 4 or 5 legs for people who want to do shorter legs. I'm looking for all hits, man. I'm thinking I'm gonna go Hedges over Zorro, right? Zorro, No, he ain't been looking the greatest. You know what I mean? So yeah, I'm gonna go Hedges to outbox him. We throw Hedges in this. Miami Toronto first quarter over. Shut up, my guy. Vote. Yeah, let's go Hedges to close it out. I'm gonna give y'all 5 legs. What's the biggest leg on there? Also, low good. We're gonna take Anthony off. Plus 107. Here we go. And we got one. Got to fight Thursday. Got 3 fights Wednesday, right? So here we go. I got y'all, man. I got y'all. We got Takami. All right, let's go Takami. Let's go Hedges. Let's go Cardenas. It's Wednesday, Thursday. Let's go Johnson, Shernika, and let's go AJ. Right, and let's go AJ. And again, these are just money lines, right? These are just money lines. And that'll be plus 107, right? So you got a 10 leg up there, you got a 5 leg up there. All right. I'm gonna get y'all a method one before we get up out of here too. Might as well. It might as well. AJ early KO for sure. Let's get into some methods. We can get into some methods. We can get into some methods, man. We can get into some methods. We can get into some methods, man. What my favorite method? I like Olaskaga KO minus 190. I like Takami KO. He just out Eric Roster. That's minus 110. uh, I like Johnson KO. No methods on her yet. At least not on DK. And Anthony Joshua KO. So let's go. I'm gonna give y'all these 3 KOs right here for now. It's plus 264, right? So here we go. Yes, I can. Bro, I know you see them names up. I know you see them names scrolling down there. Well, I know you. Did you look at the headline when you came here? Who fight? Who fight Wednesday morning, vote? Who fight Wednesday morning, vote? Tell me who fighting. Olaskaga knockout, right? Tell me who fighting Wednesday morning, vote. So Olaskaga KO. We're gonna go to Kami KO. Right, and then we go AJ KO. They get us to plus 265. All right, boom. They go my method parlay, right? I think that's coming home. I think that's coming home right there. I think that's coming home right there. So I'm gonna get up out of here, y'all. Let me do this jump real quick. I'm gonna start another live too because I gotta do PFL and UFC too. All right. So hey, timestamp for my people who want to skip the boring part, 45:20. We got uh you see my full car fight pick scrolling down in the yellow, right? So just look down there in the yellow. You can get all my fight picks, every pick for this weekend. I got the parlay: Silva, Valet, Griffin, Johnson, Bumgarner, AJ, Oscalaga, Takumi, Hedges, Cardenas. That's all money line. If you want my top 5 instead of my top 10, we got Takumi, Hedges, Cardena, Johnson, AJ, right? Takumi, Hedges, Cardena, Johnson, AJ, my top 5, and my method pick, Oscar Laga, and my method pick, Oscar Laga, Takumi, and AJ KO. That's plus 265, right? So the method pick, Oscar Laga KO, Tsutsumi KO, AJ KO plus 265. The 5 leg, Takami, Hedges, Cardenas, Johnson, AJ on the money line is plus 107. And then my straight money line pick, right? Silver, Valet, Griffin, Johnson, Baumgartner, AJ, Oscar Law, Takami, Hedges, Cardena. They get you the plus 350, man. Gave it to you 3 different ways, right? So we're gonna put that thing at 45.20 for the pick breakdown. I'm gonna stop this on there for 48 minutes, right? So we got like a minute left. Any questions y'all got? Anything y'all want to ask me before we get up out of here? And I'm gonna bring y'all the MMA for the week, a little later today. About it's either gonna be about 7:30 or 8, or it's gonna be like 9:30 or 10 when I'm gonna give it to you. Right? I might go live tonight for the game and shit. I already got bets, right? Which is about to pop off in an hour. Want to get my boxing out, first though, right? PFL dropping this week too. It's BKFC, right? So I'm gonna check out the BKFC card. I might put the BKFC with the PFL. That's why I ain't went ahead and dropped that one just yet. So I'm gonna put the BKFC with the PFL though, right? But yeah, that 5 leg is what I like the most, right? So this 5 leg, then you got that method jump. That method jump look nasty too. Two of those methods going down tomorrow, right? So we're gonna know about that method jump sooner than later. Not tomorrow, but Wednesday morning, right? But yeah, that's my favorite jump right there. Right, and then method jump nasty too. You know what I mean? So for everybody that's skipping the boring part, put it all on the screen for you one more time, 48 minutes, right? Method, Oscar Luga, Takami, AJKO, 5 leg money line, which is my favorite, Takami, Hedges, Cardenas, Johnson, AJ money line, right? And then you got the long parlay, the 10 leg, right? All week. Uh Silver, Valet, Griffin, Johnson, Bumgarner, AJ, Oscar Lager, Takami, Hedges, Cardenas. And you can see my full weekend boxing picks down there scrolling at the bottom, right? So that's all I got for y'all, man. Skin the Hardaway, Southern T. This ain't the past, this ain't the future, but this the present. That's how we rocking. And I'm out. Look.